Whenever I travel away from home, the one thing I always miss is the creature comforts of my smart home. Coming home to a dark house with no heating or AC, having to turn lights on like a heathen, and all of the other things that we take for granted. But this time I thought, how hard can it be to set up a temporary smart home away from my actual smart home? Well, this time, thanks to Aqara for sponsoring this video, we're going to see how easy it is to set up some essential smart home devices in this Airbnb, or if you rent a house and you can't make permanent modifications to your house. Now, if you're staying in an Airbnb for a week or two, it's probably not worth going to all of the trouble to set up a smart home just for a short term. But if you're staying in an Airbnb maybe longer term, maybe a couple of months or weeks, then you may start to consider it. Or if you're renting a property, then it's also worth considering too, for where you can't make permanent modifications to, say, light switches or walls or anything like that. There have also been a couple of Airbnb security things in the news recently, where people have actually been worried about the hosts of Airbnb coming into their houses when they're away, or even going as far as installing security and CCTV spy cameras in things like the roof and motion sensors around. So it may be worth considering setting up things like a smart home just for the security aspect, so you have peace of mind when you're actually away out from the house. Just like when we're starting any new smart home, the first thing we're going to want to select is our smart home hub, which is going to be the brains of our smart home, and it's going to control all of the devices and sensors, as well as set up automations. And of course, the smart home hub that we selected for this is the Home Assistant Yellow. It's super small, portable, easy to work with, and has really powerful local home automation and smart home control, and it works with all of our devices. It's got a Zigbee hub built in so that we can work with all of the Aqara devices, which are primarily Zigbee based, and yeah, they work really well with Home Assistant Yellow, and it's super easy to set up in our temporary house. We could also use one of the Aqara hubs to connect all of our devices and then connect that via the HomeKit integration into Home Assistant. But because the Yellow has a Zigbee hub built in too, we're just going to connect all of the devices directly. One important aspect of the smart home is, of course, smart lighting. Now, my favorite way to do this is by replacing the light switch with a smart switch, or putting something in behind your existing light switch, which will give you smart functionality. But because we're in an Airbnb, we can't just start ripping out all of the light switch and replacing them with our own. So the other way to do this is with smart bulbs like these Zigbee ones, and then using them in combination with smart plugs or smart sockets for things like lamps. Another important aspect is going to be security. So a security system in a smart home will give you an alert or a notification if someone enters your house, or there is motion, or a door gets opened when you are away for the day, but also it can double alongside our smart lights to give us motion controlled smart lights. So anytime you enter the room, the lights will actually come on automatically, as well as turn off themselves too. We're going to be using the brand new Aqara P1 motion sensor, which is an updated version of their original one. It's got customizable sensitivity as well as a configurable timeout period. This is a new and improved version, and I really like this motion sensor. It's small, the battery life is really good, and yeah, just an overall great sensor. The Aqara P1, much like all of the Aqara devices, is Zigbee based, so it's going to connect directly to our Home Assistant Yellow. And we're also going to pair them with the very trusted Aqara door contact sensor for our doors and windows, so that we can get an alert anytime anyone opens the door, as well as early detection on the motion lights. So these are great, these are tiny, they have absolutely insane battery life, and they are super reliable. Again, they are Zigbee based. The final thing that we have for security is the Aqara G3. So this is an indoor 360-degree pan and tilt camera with IR night vision, and a really good resolution, as well as AI and face gesture control. So this is a 360-degree camera. It can rotate, it can do sentry duty, it can do all of that good stuff. It also has a Zigbee hub built in that you can use to connect to HomeKit through Home Assistant. The HomeKit and integration is actually one that is not known by a lot of people, but it is actually a really good integration. You don't need any Apple devices to use it. It's all local control and it works without internet. So if you do have the HomeKit integration available to you, that is a really good way to go. So yeah, this has HomeKit compatibility, so we can connect it direct into Home Assistant. It's going to give us our indoor video feed. What we're going to use this for is as an indoor camera, so that anytime we go out, we can activate this camera and it will automatically start recording and start a sentry duty anytime we are away. So we're going to combine this with our Home Assistant hub so that anytime that we leave the house, our geolocations on our phone will check in and it will automatically enable this camera so that it only records when we are away from the house. Finally, the other devices that are going to be absolutely essential and key if you are a renter or you're living in temporary accommodation is wireless mini switches or wireless switches in general. So Aqara have the wireless mini switch, which has quite a lot of customizability with it, as well as they also have their wireless wall switch. So these are great for just having dotted around the house, as well as this one, and you can set them up to control things like curtains or blinds, as well as lights, anything like that. They can all be controlled with these wireless switches. Again, these are battery powered and they are Zigbee based. Really handy if you are rented and you can't change light switches, for example, then these are going to be absolutely essential. Some other devices that are also great if you are renting a property is things like the Aqara curtain driver. This is an absolute tank. I reviewed this a couple of weeks ago. It's got great battery life and I think it's one of the best ways to automate curtains out currently. We don't actually have any curtains in this property, unfortunately, so we can't set these up, but these are really great units if you're looking to do that. We also have things like the Aqara TVOC. So this is an air quality sensor as well as temperature and humidity. So you can use things like this alongside, say, the door contact sensor to stick onto your window to let you know when you need to open a window to improve air quality or the temperature or humidity, anything like that. These are really great. They've also got a display on the front so that you can easily read the information. And we also have things like the temperature and humidity sensor, the standalone version, as well as the vibration sensor. So the vibration sensor is great for putting on things like a washing machine to let you know when you need to empty the washing machine, send you a notification so you don't forget to do that. So lots of great equipment from Aqara that you can use if you're renting a property. So let's go ahead and actually get some of it set up and see what we can do. Setting up our Home Assistant Yellow is really simple too. So if you haven't seen this yet, this is basically a Raspberry Pi inside of it, and is the Home Assistant project's first attempt at some custom hardware for local smart home control. The setup process is actually really easy. All you need to do is plug this guy into a network cable and some power, wait a couple minutes for it to start up, and then you'll be able to go through the 30-second boot process or the 30-second setup process to configure everything, and then you are pretty much good to go. Now we're at our Home Assistant dashboard, so I just plugged in the Home Assistant Yellow, gave it a couple of minutes, and then went to homeassistant.local in our browser, and it lands us at the main dashboard. And now if we head into settings and then into devices, we should see, yep, so it's automatically picked up our Zigbee radio and it's automatically asking us to configure it. So if we just hit configure, and then submit, and it's going to pop up and say that the Zigbee is now configured, and then we should be good to pair our devices. So that is done. And if we head into configure and then add device, we should be able to add our first sensor. So if I press and hold the pair button on the back, the blue light should flash, and then it's going to appear as a Zigbee device and automatically be picked up by the Yellow and added to Home Assistant. So there it is configuring, and now the device is good to go. So we're going to go ahead and repeat that process for the rest of our devices, and that's all there is to the setup process. Okay, so we've went ahead and paired all of our Zigbee devices. They are pretty much all set up. So you can see here we've got motion, light level, the lamps, air quality, temperature, humidity, all those good things. The last thing to set up is our indoor camera. So if we head over to settings and then devices and services, you should see it's already automatically detected the G3 as a camera through HomeKit. Remember, that gives you local control and works without internet, as well as a live stream, all done through HomeKit and all done locally. So that is a really good way. And if we just click on configure, it'll ask us for the pairing code. And when we click on submit, it will then add the camera automatically. And when we go into the G3 inside of Home Assistant, you'll see we have all of the controls. We've got the alarm controls, we have motion, pairing mode, volume, all those good stuff. And then we have the camera itself. So if we click on that, we should actually get a live stream right from the camera. And that's all integrated into Home Assistant with local control. So now we can literally just put this camera over in the corner. Unfortunately, HomeKit does not give you the PTZ controls, so you do need to use those through the Aqara app. As well as this guy also has an infrared controller built in, as well as a privacy mode where the camera will actually flip up when you're at home. Those do need to be done inside of the Aqara app. That's a HomeKit limitation. Hopefully we will see those added soon. But yeah, the Aqara app is really good to use and simple and straightforward and works really well also. Okay, so that is all of our devices and sensors set up with Home Assistant, and I've went ahead and configured a few essential automations. So you'll see that as soon as we step into this room, the motion sensor should automatically pick up the motion and turn on the lamps in this room. The motion sensor is over here, so you can see that the advantage of these guys is that they're so small, you can place them pretty much anywhere, and you can also stick them up onto a roof or ceiling if you want to also. So those are super handy. You can just place them around anywhere in your house and they're pretty much unnoticeable. On the back of the door, we also have a contact sensor so that as soon as anyone enters the room and the door opens, we will get a notification straight from Home Assistant to let us know that someone is in if everyone is already away from the house. So that works really nicely using your location data, all stored locally and all private. We've also set up the wireless remote in this room as well to toggle the lights on and off. So a single press will turn the lights on and then back on again. And then a double press will set the lights to purple for watching a movie or something like that, if you want to relax and have a bit more of a nice light. And then a press and hold on this button will turn the lights back to their original color for working at night. If we come over here, we also have our air quality sensor that does temperature, humidity, and the particulate matter in this room. So this is this guy over here. It's got a e-ink display, temperature, humidity, a really nice little unit. You can stick them up on the wall or just place them around again. And we've set that up with door contact sensors on the windows so that if the air quality gets bad in this room or the temperature is too warm, you can just open the window. It'll send you a notification to let you know to open the window and then try and bring the temperature back down. Finally, we have our Aqara G3 camera. So this is the pan and tilt camera, and you'll see that it's automatically tracking me as I move around the room, as well as it's giving me a notification on my phone to let me know that someone is actually in the house. So it'll immediately send an alert to say that there is a human in the house. Really great little camera again, and the live stream works with Home Assistant, and you can control the pan and tilt through the Aqara app. We can also do a similar sort of setup in your bedroom for lights, security, things like that again. So the good thing about these contact sensors, again from Aqara, is that they do have sticky pads. They come with multiple sticky pads in the box. And if you're renting, then they are super easy to put up, and they don't leave any, or they don't remove any paint from the walls. They're super lightweight, they stick on really well, and yeah, just really good to use. We've also got a really long actually distance range, so you don't even have to get them too close, and they do work well. So also in this room, which has amazing views by the way, we have our motion sensor, again sat over in the corner for our motion lights, as well as security when we leave. And we also have our remote. So this time we're just using smart plugs in this room to control the lamps. A single press turns them on, and a single press turns them off again. So there we go, that is how easy it is to set up a temporary smart home away from your actual smart home. Or if you're just renting and you want to start your own smart home without actually modifying any of the walls, you can't just rip out light switches and things like that, then there are lots of good ideas, and there are lots of good smart home devices that you can use even if you are renting or you're staying in a long-term Airbnb, something like that. I know Aqara sponsored this video, but we do have tons of Aqara devices in our smart home. I would say the majority of our smart home devices are Aqara devices. Really good for the money, battery life is solid on their Zigbee products, and they just generally work really well and are super reliable. Doing something like this is really good for security purposes, especially if you're in something like an Airbnb where somebody else has keys to the property and you want to make sure and keep an eye on things when you're out, especially with all the news going on recently about Airbnb, then this is a good way to do it. Particularly the indoor camera is really good because of that 360-degree pan and tilt, as well as the automatic human tracking and notifications, all those good stuff. So that is a really good choice for indoor camera, combined with the motion sensors, door sensors, things like that. Anyways, if you want to check out any of the products that we featured in this video, I'll have them linked down below in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you learned a thing or two about all of the different products and the things that you can do in your smart home if you're renting. Make sure to drop this video a like if you did like it, and get subscribed, and I will see you in the next video.